Hello, Yevgeny. We have not met each other in person so far. The idea of this conversation came to my mind by our common friend Lorenzo Roselli, who is a common friend of ours. He is an activist of the Italian Milizia Christi. And actually, 1 year ago, we happened to participate on the same conference. I was there in person, but you were there also by Skype, if you can remember. It was about the Catholic activism in a political sphere. I am a member of the 64 County Youth Movement. I am speaking on behalf of this movement, and I would like to ask you to introduce yourself and your movement, because the Hungarian audience is not really aware of your movement. So I think it is a very good idea, and it will be interesting for the Hungarian audience.
Thank you for inviting me to this conversation. My name is Yevgeny. I'm a student in the Moscow State University of Foreign Affairs. I represent our students' fraternity group called the Akademisti, and we're part of a bigger organization that is called Tsargrad. We work with them, for them, and this organization was founded in 2015 by a Russian Orthodox entrepreneur and a patriot, Konstantin Valeryevich Malafeyev. And the main goal and purpose of our organization is to rebuild our great and lost Russian Empire.
Are you in the headquarters of your movement anyways? Because I see flags behind you.
Yes, this is, we have a couple of offices in the capital in Moscow. I wish I could show you. It's a very new one. It is located in an old mansion that was built in the 18th century. So it's a historic building that the Moscow government allowed us to use. And yeah, we have a lot of books on politics, culture, literature, many Russia-related flags, coat of arms. Well, I got a small flag myself.
Yeah.
It is our headquarters. We even have a training gym. Like some guys just passed me. They went into the basement to train MMA, boxing.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
We train the mind and the soul.
Yeah. Very good. And the body also.
The body.
Yeah, that's the perfect. Yeah. This is a parallel thing, I think, between our movements, because we say the same. So we also pay attention to improve ourselves ideologically and improve our thinking also, and physically as well. So that if it is necessary, an activist or let's say a militant has to be able to fight for their ideas and for the country. And you mentioned that you want to restore the Russian Empire, right?
Correct. We believe in the revival of the Russian Empire within its historical borders. For us, it is more than just a state. It is the third Rome. It is a heiress of the Roman Empire of Constantinople, or Tsargrad, like the Slavs used to call it back in the day. In Russia, we usually call it Tsargrad. It is the city of the Tsar. And it is even deeper than that. We believe, and it is written in a book by Konstantin Malafeyev, The Empire, that we are, there is a Greek evangelical word, katechan, the thing that keeps the world from the evil.
Yeah. I know, actually, I know very well, because, 1 year ago, after your speech there by Skype, I was speaking about the meaning of katechon. So we are we have very many things which is parallel, very many parallel ideas, I think. And what ideology do you have in Tsargrad movements?
Well, we believe that the Russian Empire is not like or Russia itself is not solely the largest country in the world. We believe that we are own original self-sufficient civilization that is based on the Orthodox faith and the idea of the empire. We are a nation of both saints and heroes, and our church has taught everything that we need. It taught us to love, taught us justice, humility, virtue, and this burden of being the empire, so being the builders of civilization, is shapes us, shapes who we are, shapes our sense of duty, sense of honor, and faith and traditional values are at the core of every Russian person.
So I suppose you are an Orthodox believer, right?
Of course. We're Orthodox believers, and most of us are monarchists. We believe in the sanctity of the power, that power comes from God, and not all men deserve to wield it.
Yeah. Actually, my movement is also a monarchist movement. So I think in Hungary we are the main traditionalist and monarchist movement. And what is your approach towards other orientations of Christianity and other religions?
We believe that other Christians are brothers in Christ. We're all brothers in Christ. That we had some miscommunications, misproblems, but we believe in the same things. In the Lord, we have the same values, the same duty to ourselves and duty to the Western civilization that we all shaped, built, and made it. Our unity made it great. And speaking of other denominations, well, Russia has lived peacefully with any other religion for hundreds of years. And in the Russian Empire, you could believe anything, and usually there was sort of an agreement between people that the empire will protect any servant of it, and no matter the religion.
Yeah, I see. Okay, actually, I am since I have been being a monarchist. Very many times I received the question that, okay, but who should be the king? So I think I would like to ask you also this, that who should be then the Tsar in the Russian Empire, according to your opinion?
Well, it's a very good question. The revival of the royal bloodline is not a very simple task, but fortunately we have many other branches of Russian Tsars, bloodlines that survived the purge of the communists, and they're scattered all around the globe. But some of them, like for example Georgy, he lives in Russia and he works with us, and he's a part of our movement. And only God can really appoint to this high office, and we just hope we find the right person.
Yeah, I see.
I think we will see in the future. There will be our country and the world itself will face many tests, trials, and tribulations, and may God guide us.
Actually, you mentioned the communist era. I am very curious that what is your approach towards communism? because if we are speaking about the Romanov dynasty, I know from history that they were slaughtered by communists, but very big part of Russian history was under communist era. What is your approach?
Well, we disdain any sort of communist beliefs. We're certain that in its core there is hatred for man that was created in the image of God, and to hatred to God itself. And hatred to God is contrary to love, and is contrary to beauty. There is not much the communists really build in terms of timelessness, and even those great achievements that were made in the Soviet era, well, most of them were created by those who were born and raised in the Russian Empire. Like for example, the literature. Bulgakov, Bunin. Well, Bunin was in the immigration. Pasternak, they were all raised in the Russian Empire, and they actually were, well, in some terms, persecuted by the Soviet government. Talking about space exploration, well, Tsiolkovsky, who is a great scientist, was also, well, he was firstly a Russian Empire scientist. So you find that everything great that the Soviet era has to offer was, well, it was born and raised in the empire. Apart from that, it's just a very sad story that a thriving state that was at its peak, at its highest moment, and within basically months of its greatest victory in the First World War, had to suffer a loss. First of all the sacrifices, all the blood that was spilled by our soldiers, by our heroes, was in vain. And not only that, civil war broke out. And during this time, much more people died than actually this. Well, the Bolsheviks claimed that they wanted to stop the war, but in doing so, they spilled much more blood. Many more millions died in combat, and many millions died in starvation and disease. And it set back our country many years ago, not only in terms of progress or economy, but also in terms of spirit, in terms of faith. The faith was destroyed. It's what's important, and what we're trying to find again, what we're trying to build step by step, is our faith. Because even though the Russian people tried to preserve it, the communist witch hunt for Christianity, it caused a lot of confusion, trouble, and we're living in a very confused world, when basically a great country is without its culture, and without culture, well, it's just like Stolypin said, our great statesman, the nation that doesn't remember its culture is just like a field for other people. It's nothing.
Yeah. And from those times when there was a civil war between Russian and Russian, do you have role models? I mean, for example, do you cultivate, for example, Admiral Kolchak?
There is a portrait, like.
I see.
Yes, we have many great heroes and warriors and soldiers who did not betray their people and did not betray faith and country. Well, my personal favorite and role model is General Drozdovsky, who was a stout monarchist. He was very stoic, and he fought with his men, and he didn't demand much. There is a theory that he was killed by one of the spies and the traitors. So yeah, he was also betrayed, just like Christ. And for me, he's not a venerated saint, but he is a a great warrior and a big role model. There is a portrait of him right here, General Drozdovsky. Also, we have, of course, Wrangel, also a monarchist, Kapil, who served under Kolchak, also a monarchist.
And in Hungary, there is a certain reputation of Ungern Sternberg.
Ah, yes.
Because he had a Hungarian, or leastwise a Hunnic origin.
Yes, he's a very interesting character. I think he deserves his own movie if you know his history. He was of a noble origin. He was many ethnicities, including like German, and like you said, Hungarian, and he was also a stout monarchist, and he was just a very crazy, like in a good way, madman.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
He even he was selfless and so courageous, so brave that usually you try to preserve your officer who was of nobility, but he wouldn't let himself be saved, and he would then moved. He saved Mongolia from the Chinamen, and he is like sort of a small folk hero there. He saved the capital from the Chinese in the later parts of the civil war, but was then unfortunately betrayed also and shot. But his story is wonderful.
Yeah. And as far as I know, the executioners, the soldiers who were appointed to execute him, were very afraid of him, and their hands were shaking during the execution.
Yeah, because he commanded like this Asiatic division, like it's called like that, and he used to wear this Tibetan robes with a Cossack hat and with a Cossack sword and this sort of also Tibetic ornamental stick, and he was like a god of war for the Mongols.
Yeah. Right. So actually, as far as I know, in Russia there is a big nostalgia towards the communist era, but as I speak to you, I recognize that you and your movement do not have any nostalgia towards this period.
Absolutely not. Yeah, well, it's not actually as big. It is usually more in the older people, and we all understand why, because they lived in this time, and it is the best. Well, they lived their best lives in the Soviet era.
So it is not ideological, rather because
it's just you enjoy what you had, you enjoy the lifetime you had. You do not choose when you are born. So it is it is very hard to psychologically hate your past just because you were born under communist rule. But ideologically, no. And usually it's only fanatics, and they look weird. You know, you always look like at the fanatic liberals, Democrats, and communists, and Antifa, and they all look weak, weird, and ugly. I think it is like
true.
It's because they hate the religion, they hate God, they hate everything that is beautiful, because everything that God made is beautiful, and that's why they are not beautiful themselves. And I wish them the best, and I wish they will understand that they are wrong.
Yeah. Because actually, in Hungary, among right-wing people, we see the war in Ukraine, we see the special military operation, and we can witness also red flags and red stars, and to some right-wingers in Hungary, they say that because we see these symbols, they state that this Russia now is is some kind of neo-Bolshevism. This is not my point of view. This is not my opinion. But a lot of Hungarian says this because of the red flags.
I completely understand that. We also sometimes do not, but we cannot judge the people who protect our country in any way. Be that whatever their ideology is, they risk their lives, they
Yeah.
spill blood for our country. So without a doubt, we do not think that it's somewhat shameful. What I'm actually going to tell you that there is another very prominent red flag that appeared on the battle tanks and on the conquered Ukrainian villages and building is Spas Nerukotvorny. It is a flag that was used since like 13th century Russia, and it carries the image of God. It's basically an image of Jesus Christ. And under it, since like the first Russian warriors fought and prayed and won, and it grows. It was somewhat forgotten because of all the communists and stuff, but now it's revived, and not only by us, but by soldiers themselves. They want to be protected by God. They want to show their faith. They want to believe that they're doing the right thing, and I talked with a lot of priests. They say that men who didn't believe, soldiers, they confess their sins and they adopt Christianity, Orthodoxy, and this is just it's just wonderful to witness. And usually people who use the communist red flag, they don't do it because they're communists. It's rarely so. Most of the time, it's to honor their ancestors who fought for the country 80 years ago, and just to somehow mimic their heroes, their grandfathers, and to have this connection. It's very unlikely that any ideology and faith in Marxism or Leninism is actually exposed by these flags. It's just purely like show appreciation of the fathers and to carry on the legacy of conquerors and winners.
And apart from these red flags, you mentioned that there are also the Tsarist and monarchist flags as well.
And there are many flags, the Russian flag, the Empire flag with the black and the golden colors. There's Spas Nerukotvorny, like the one I just mentioned. Then there is with a skull. I don't know if you've seen one. It has words of the creed, of the Christian creed prayer, and it was used by one general, Baklanov, who fought in the Caucasus War. Yeah, and of course some soldiers who are like football fans, they use like the football flags of their team.
I see. What is the situation regarding inner domestic politics? Do you get some endorsement from the government? So the government supports your ideas, or how do you see it? So monarchism and to be religious and faithful, is it supported from the government side?
We have Voronezh, which is, but it's a Russian for like conference, but it's more older word. It's for union or something, but not in a communist way. And it is organized by us, by Tsargrad, with the help with the Russian Orthodox Church, with the Patriarch, and it is attended by many government servicemen, including our president. And pretty soon there will be another conference which will be attended by Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. So yeah, we are heard. Most importantly, we have, of course, close connections in different spheres: economic, government, international relations, some military, and yeah, we are a pretty good force to deal with.
Yeah, and as far as I know, the founder of your movement, Konstantin Malofeyev, right?
Yeah, Konstantin Valeryevich Malofeyev, yes.
Yeah, and he is one of the oligarchs in Russia, or one of the strong men.
Well, yeah, entrepreneurs or businessmen, because oligarch is a
yeah, it has a bad taste. I know.
It's connected with the 90s, with the mafia, with the criminals. Yeah.
We have a website which is close to our movement, and recently in September gave a news about you that you performed a big, huge monarchist march in St. Petersburg. What was this march about, and how many participants were there?
The march in St. Petersburg is a yearly occasion. It is to honor one of our main saints, Alexander Nevsky. He defended the Orthodox Church from the Northern Crusaders, from the Teutonic Knights, Livonic Knights, from Swedish Knights. Well, basically, thanks to him, we are what we are. We have our faith, Orthodoxy, and he is venerated as a saint, and his day is 12th of September. And every year we have a march, as you can call it, and many people of our organization organize it and attend. I do not remember the correct numbers, but approximately like 1,000 or more people attended it. Students, adults, women, children, men, everyone participated in it and supports us.
What other activities do you have as a movement?
Like the Veronese, which I just told you about, it's a conference that we have. It's a very big project. Apart from that, we have Dugla Varel, which is sportsman and the physical aspect of us. There we try to popularize traditional sports. Like, for instance, I think you've seen the fights between teams, big teams. We call it Stenka, which is a big fight that is...
Ustavka.
Yeah, I think it's your word. So basically, we had the ability to make them legal. Well, of course, with gloves and
I see.
But it's absolutely legal fights between starting from 25 on 25, and our biggest one was 600 on 600 people. And wow. I attended it, and it was crazy. It was like a real battle, but with hands only.
So in certain occasions, you organize these fighting events?
Usually on holidays, Russian people back in the days, they used to just fight for fun because it's cool. Because fighting is cool.
It's tradition.
It's not bad blood. It's just you wanna go at it. You wanna test your mettle. You want to test yourself, test your courage, test the man that you're fighting with, and they just did it on Maslenitsa. Well, it's a universal holiday in the different cultures that signifies the coming of spring. Or there are other occasions, for example, if there are like a village that is seated on a river from both sides, and they decide who will catch the fish next year. Go ahead, they just organize a big street fight. Basically, this is how legally Russians decided those matters. No courts, just pure power and fun. So yeah, it was a sport and a matter of settling disputes. So yeah, we're reviving that, and it's immensely popular it's fun to watch. People come to watch it, and it's good for the spirits. It's good for the body. We try not to hurt. We do not. If a man is down on one knee, he's not punched. We have like a couple of rounds for 1 minute, as not to get too hectic. And yeah, apart from that, we have Kila, which is a game closely resembling rugby and American football, but we do not have the protection, and it's just a mixture. Basically, you carry the ball, you cross the line, you win, but you can be tackled, you can be like wrestled. So also fun. Dugla Orel means two-headed eagle, and symbol of our country. And they organize events like football games, tournaments on any sports. Also, our men of the two-headed eagle, Dugla Orel, they form part of our own military unit, Moskva, that is taking part in the conflict, in the war. So yeah, we have basically real warriors, real soldiers. They're all great men, heroes. We respect them and we help them any way we can. Then there is Union of Russia of Orthodox Women. Well, they do basically the same as what Tsargrad does, but on the women's side. I can't really explain much because I don't work with them. We work on some occasions, on some events, but usually they're responsible for all the female parts of the Russian.
Yeah.
All the necessities. Then we have our own funds. Well, serve the purpose of sponsoring many good things, events, projects that help the Russian people, the Russian culture. Also have our own gymnasium. They're like the future students of very prominent, the best universities of Russia. And like there are steps. There is a school, there is our fraternities, students fraternity, Akademisti, and there is Tsargrad. So we kind of raise our own.
You are in the middle step, right? Because you're Akademisti, right?
So it's a giant organization. And
how many people incorporated in it?
By thousands, because we are like in, I believe, 26 cities on Russia and in many regions. And it will be very hard to count. I think only students, there is 800. Dugla Orel is a couple of thousands, and we grow with each day, with each month. So it will be very hard to estimate.
And you mentioned that some of your comrades are actually fighting in Ukraine now. So
yes.
You know them in person?
Yeah, some of them I know in person, not many of them, because, well, I cannot tell you.
Okay, don't tell me anything which is not.
I know them, and they're amazing guys, real heroes. Respect them, utmost respect to them. Well, God bless them, and hope they return unharmed.
Yeah. And if we are speaking about the situation in Ukraine, what is your movement approach in it? So how do you see it?
We see it that Russian people consists of three branches. Velika Rossi is like the Great Rus, great in terms of scale, more like. Well, what you know as Russians. There is the Belorussi, the White Russians, and the Malorossi, which is junior or smaller Russians. But yeah, it's hard to translate. And there are what you know as Ukrainians. And we believe one of the biggest nation that was divided, and it was divided not willingly, but by the people in power who did not ask the people if they wanted, and they asked the people if they want to be divided, and the people said no, but they still did it. So we are one of the most involuntary, forcefully divided population than the world, and we believe this is a process of unification. It's a very hard one. It's a bloody one, and no one wanted it on each side. But there has been a lot of done to destroy our brotherly connection, and many people in Ukraine do not recognize us as their own. But we have literally like nothing that not in common. We are that's in faith, a little bit of different language, but we still understand each other. And this assumption is stupid. It's like to say that well, not all.
Yeah, it's just a dialect, right?
Yes, an American from, I don't know, Montana doesn't understand another American from Arizona. Well, they're not different people. Based on that, they decided that there's something else, and they have a big crisis of identity. They're trying to be everything else, but what you can come up of. There is no great poets, no inventors of that are real Ukrainians, and I wish they see us for who we really are to them as brothers. But unfortunately, blood is spilled, and no one wants it. Most empires are built that way.
I see. Did you have any connections in Ukraine, for example, Ukrainian monarchists, or who were similar to your belief system, which worsened, and the connection went bad direction due to politics and the war?
Well, me personally, no, because well, when all the things started in 2013, I was 12, so I cannot exactly answer that. And
yeah. So you mentioned 2013 because you are saying that the conflict started that time.
Well, yeah, the first like the Maidan started like at that time, but it was even earlier. Like if we connect all the dots, that it's just a very crazy event that has been going for many years. The spark that lit all the fire, all the powder, began in 2013, and it hasn't been extinguished yet.
Well, how do you see the role of the United States in this conflict?
How we see it? Well, first of all, I'll say that we do not view the people of the United States as our enemies or anything like that. I actually have a lot of friends and from the United States. Some of them, I met them while being there in that country. It's a wonderful country, very beautiful. In our ideology, there are two powers in the world that have been since the beginning of time, since civilizations were ever constructed. There is an empire, Katechon, and then there is Hanan. It's like Rome and Carthage. There has been a power struggle between these two things since thousands of years, and each time the empire was inherited. Rome was inherited to Byzantine inherited the Rome to us, and this Hanan, this opponent, the enemy of the empire, has been in the end to Napoleon, then to Britain, then to the United States, and we come at the point that we are not only geopolitically, but ideologically contradictory to each other. It will only be settled when well, Christ will come again.
I see. In an eschatological sense. Yes. There are some books of Alexander Dugin which were published in Hungarian language. Do you have any connections towards him?
No, if you have any Dugin readers and they understand what I was speaking like a moment ago, but yes, of course, he is first of all a great close friend to Konstantin Valeryevich Malofeev, and he frequently invites him to all the meetings, all the big procedures, to even debates. We usually hear him talk, hear his lectures, he speaks. Yeah, he is very influential to us, and we recognize him as our greatest philosopher we have right now in Russia and probably in the world. And it is great to hear that he is very renowned and popular in some sense in your country.
Yeah. We have a periodical, we have a journal which deals with metapolitical writings. We edit it and publish it in Hungarian language, and its name is Duogladi, which refers to the Bible, because this means two swords in Latin. Yeah. Because one is the spiritual sword and other is the earthly sword. As we discussed in the beginning of our conversation, that we have to improve our thinking and improve our body as well.
Exactly.
Actually, we sometimes publish from Alexander Dugin writings also.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, in Hungarian. Actually, if I could, I would send as a present to you, but I'm afraid that
for now,
sanctions. Yeah, due to the sanctions, I am not able to.
I understand. And we would also like to send the books, the Empire series of books.
Who is the author of that book, which you are?
The author is Konstantin Valeryevich Malofeev, and he and also many other historians and philosophers took part in contributing to this book, including Alexander Georgiyevich Dugin.
In Russia and in your movement, what fame my country, Hungary, has?
Well, first of all, we have on this week we heard great news that during the summit in Beijing, the Belt and Roads summit, your president Viktor Orban had a meeting with our president, and I think it is a very good gesture of that your president really understands the situation and wishes for his country the best. He doesn't want to sacrifice his people, his state, his nation to the whims of the American politicians. He's very rational and understanding, and he tries to really search the truth. We respect it a lot, and people who are interested in politics, we are glad that somebody in Europe understands us, tries to understand us at least. Mm-hmm. So yeah, well, we have a very great respect for your president, and as of Hungary, I don't think historically we had like many connections. Bad to say, you're part of the Western civilization, just like us, part of Europe, and the way things are going, I think you will play a greater role in the things to come. We thank you that you reached to us and help us express us, popularize our movement in your country, because I believe maybe previously we didn't have a connection with Hungary, but it's high time we build one. Yeah,
absolutely. Anyways, as far as Viktor Orban is concerned, you know, there are some controversies regarding him because actually he voted, I think, almost all of the sanctions against Russia. I would be more happy if there would be no sanction against Russia.
We also would, but we understand completely his position, in which position he is, and still he is well, this voice of reason in the European Union. Even like Serbia even had to accept all the sanctions, and so we have nothing really against it. We just know that for now the balance of power is not in your hands.
Yeah.
But,
right. Yeah.
The struggle, it's, well, you reap what you sow. At what Orban is sowing, I think will come for the best for your country and for us.
Mm-hmm. And very important, those connections which we are building right now are very important, because if Europe and Russia, or you know, the European countries and Russia comes to an agreement, then every participant immediately becomes stronger and much more influential.
Absolutely.
And there are powers in the world, such as the United States, is not in favor of this. So
absolutely,
they do not want this to happen. And based on the common principles which we have, like tradition and monarchism, we can build connections, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we will always remember that your people try to, in any ways, reach out to us, talk to us, help us, even come to an understanding and to an agreement. It is very heartwarming.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much for this conversation. And as an end of it, what message would you send to the Hungarians, especially the right-wing audience of the Hungarians?
First of all, I'd like to thank you for once again inviting me, helping me speak, spread our message, trying to maybe explain some misconceptions that arise when imagining Russia as a whole. And I really wish you have a more clear understanding of us, our position, our goals, our view, our ideology, what an average Russian looks like, things like. And a message to you would be continue to honing, to preparing, to striving to be better mentally, physically, and spiritually. I think what is happening now is only probably the beginning, because many things are transpiring, and there will be many tests, many trials, and we as Christians, we must together overcome them. So keep your faith in your heart and the Lord in your heart, and be brave. Always seek the truth. God bless.
Okay, thank you very much. And one more question, if you let me. You mentioned that Hungary will have a crucial and very important role in the future. Why do you think, and what is this important role is?
I believe that because you are actually not blinded, not in the higher politics, like your not your president, not your people, because we're talking right now, and those who always seek the truth are rewarded. I cannot predict the future, unfortunately, but I believe like those who strive for the better world, for justice, most importantly, those who seek justice will one of those days will achieve it, and that's what you're doing now.
Thank you very much for this conversation. And actually, I am looking forward to meet you in person also, when it will be possible in the future.
As do we, and we hope Well, at least we have other conferences and talks, and there are many things great await us. Even online, we can achieve many things. But of course, we hope this will soon get over, and the Europeans, us, can see each other in person and shake our hands and have a drink, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, maybe a vodka, good
Yeah.
quality vodka. You have some, as far as I heard.
We'll
Yeah.
gladly offer you a drink and drink to toast.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Yevgeny, and God bless you.
Thank you
also.
too. God bless you too.